What if your favorite on-screen couple turned their love story into reality? In a world where LGBTQ+ love is still fighting for visibility, Mu and Tul didn't just play lovers on screen, they stood up, hand in hand, and said, "This is real, this is us." From heart-fluttering scenes in Thai dramas to a real-life wedding that broke boundaries, their journey has become a symbol of courage, authenticity, and the unstoppable beauty of same-sex love. So, what does their journey mean to you? Do you believe more LGBTQ+ actors will follow their path? What happens when two lives that seem to exist on opposite ends of the universe suddenly collide? Two men, raised with different values, shaped by different paths, yet somehow destined to meet at the exact moment when their hearts were quietly searching for something more. This is the story of Mu and Tul, and it all started long before cameras began to roll. Long before hashtags trended, and long before the world knew their names. Mu Supasit. On paper, he was everything society would call perfect. An academic prodigy, a master's degree holder in industrial engineering from one of Thailand's top universities, a boy who spent his college years buried in formulas, blueprints, and late-night research papers. His parents had dreams for him: corporate success, maybe a future as a university professor. A life of stability and quiet pride. But Mu had always carried a different kind of longing, one that numbers couldn't measure, one that logic couldn't explain. It started with music. Then slowly, acting found him, like a hidden door that only he could unlock. With a voice as deep as midnight and eyes that spoke of both loneliness and unshaken determination, Mu stepped into the entertainment world with caution, but also with a fire he couldn't ignore. Then, on the other side of Bangkok, there was Tul Pakorn. Born into privilege, Tul grew up with a different set of expectations. Luxury, elite schools, weekend family gatherings in grand houses with marble floors. But privilege didn't make him shallow, it made him hungry for something meaningful, something that belonged to him, not just handed over by birthright. Architecture became his first love, a perfect mix of creativity and control. But soon, the pull of the entertainment industry became impossible to resist. Tall, graceful, with a face that could shift from boyish charm to striking elegance in seconds, Tul became a sought-after model, then a television host, and finally, a full-fledged actor. People loved him for his wit, his humor, his ability to fill every room with energy. But behind that polished exterior was a man still searching for something real, something unscripted. Their first meeting wasn't dramatic. There were no cinematic violins playing in the background, no slow-motion glances across a crowded room. Just two young actors called to the same location for a routine screen test for a new BL series that nobody knew would change their lives. It was one of those awkward industry afternoons. Bright studio lights, paper scripts, staff shuffling around with clipboards and coffee cups. But amidst all that noise, something else happened. Tul, with his usual ease, was the first to speak, breaking the ice, making a joke, flashing that signature smile that made even strangers feel like old friends. Mu, more reserved, observed from a distance at first, replying politely, eyes focused, but distant, as if weighing every word. But beneath the quiet, something in him stirred. Maybe it was Tul's laugh. Maybe it was the way Tul made everyone in the room feel seen, even him. Or maybe it was the first time Mu realized that someone understood what it felt like to stand on the edge of two worlds, never quite fitting into either. Their first conversation was short, a comment about the script, a laugh over how awkward the dialogue sounded when read aloud, a shared glance when the director asked them to run the scene together for the first time. And in that moment, under the glare of studio lights, something shifted. Their lines flowed naturally. Their chemistry felt unforced, almost like the script had been written with them in mind. When the scene ended, people clapped, but Mu and Tul just stood there, looking at each other, knowing without saying a word that this was not going to be just another job. Over the following weeks, their paths crossed again and again. Casting calls, script readings, costume fittings, and each time the distance between them grew smaller. Conversations became longer, jokes became inside jokes, and slowly, without either of them realizing, a friendship began to bloom. But here's the question. When two men from two different worlds meet by chance, is it really chance at all? Or was something bigger at play? Something written long before they knew how to read each other's eyes, long before their names became one in the hearts of fans across the world. Stay with us, because what started as a simple meeting was only the first chapter of a love story no one saw coming. What happens when two actors step into a fictional love story, but the feelings they create feel a little too real? Even when the director yells, "Cut." That was the question fans started asking the day Mu Superseat and Tul Popcorn first appeared on screen together. It wasn't just another BL series. This was a collision of two magnetic personalities, two acting styles that complemented each other, almost too perfectly. From the very first episode, viewers noticed something electric. Their eye contact lingered just a second too long. Their body language, naturally in sync, even during unscripted moments, and their smiles, they didn't look rehearsed. They looked genuine, like two people discovering something unexpected in each other. But it wasn't just the fans watching closely. Even industry insiders started whispering. Was this just good acting, or was there something real brewing beneath the surface? Behind the camera, the story became even more fascinating. During interviews, Mu and Tul would playfully tease each other. Their banter felt effortless, the kind you don't fake. Tul would roll his eyes when Mu gave a cheesy answer. Mu would laugh uncontrollably when Tul cracked a sarcastic joke. It wasn't just chemistry, it was rhythm, a kind of conversational dance that left fans hooked. Then came the variety shows, game segments where physical closeness was part of the script, but the moments didn't always feel scripted. There was that infamous game show appearance where Mu, blindfolded, was supposed to guess Tul by touch alone. Let's just say he found Tul in record time, and fans, they never stopped talking about it. And how about the fan events, where the two would share a single microphone, stand closer than necessary, and sneak glances at each other when they thought no one was watching? But of course, people were watching, and recording, and uploading. Fan forums lit up overnight, edits, compilations, mutual moments trending across social media. Some fans called it shipping, others called it manifesting, but everyone agreed on one thing. Whatever was happening, it felt real. The rumors grew stronger when off-camera moments started leaking. Fans spotted them grabbing late-night dinners, flying together for non-work trips, or attending low-key events with no cameras, no press, no official reason to be there together. And then came the unspoken hints, the unconscious touches, the way Mu would instinctively place his hand on Tul's back, or how Tul's gaze would soften mid-interview whenever Mu got nervous. Of course, both stayed professionally silent. Their official story? They were just friends. Close friends. Best friends, even. But fans weren't buying it. Some moments were too intimate to ignore. Like that one live stream where Tul absent-mindedly fixed Mu's hair without realizing thousands were watching, or that awards show where during the after-party they sat at the corner of the table, talking, laughing, heads tilted so close. It looked like a private conversation in a crowded room. For all the rumors, all the speculation, all the fan edits and late-night Twitter threads, Mu and Tul never denied and never fully confirmed. They left a beautiful, frustrating, thrilling gray area, a space where hope lived and imagination ran wild. Was it marketing genius, natural chemistry, or two people quietly falling for each other under the weight of public scrutiny and years of just friends interviews? What do you think? Were we all just witnesses to clever marketing? Or did Mu and Tul unknowingly let the world in on a love story that was never meant to stay behind the scenes? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, because whether it was acting or something beautifully real, one thing's for sure, the chemistry between Mu and Tul wasn't just good, it was unforgettable. We'll let you decide. But one thing's for sure, their story, both on screen and off, is far from over, because love, it deserves to be talked about and celebrated. What if the love story fans had spent years dreaming about was no longer just a fantasy, but something unfolding right in front of them, frame by frame, post by post, smile by lingering smile? For Mu and Tul, it all started the way most acting partnerships do, as work, two professionals, two actors, hired to bring someone else's love story to life. On screen, they delivered every romantic beat perfectly. The stolen glances, the soft-spoken confessions, the longing touches that left viewers breathless. But off-screen, the boundaries were supposed to be clear. Just friendship, just business. Nothing more, nothing complicated. Except somewhere between call times and curtain calls, the lines began to blur. It started with the small things, the kind of details most people would overlook, but their fans, they noticed everything. Matching bracelets spotted during press tours, identical rings making subtle appearances during casual hangouts, coordinated outfits that seemed far too perfectly coincidental to actually be coincidental. And then there were the vacations. Photos began appearing on their Instagram feeds, sunsets over distant beaches, cozy retreats tucked away in the mountains, late-night city strolls with skyline backdrops. Always just vague enough to stay deniable, but just detailed enough for fans to connect the dots. One day, Tul would post a moody sunset shot. 2 days later, Mu would upload an eerily similar picture, taken at the same location from the same angle. No tags, no captions linking them together. But for fans, the message was loud and clear. And it didn't stop there. Outside of work hours, they became inseparable. Coffee runs that turned into long afternoon chats. Gallery visits where they were spotted laughing over private jokes. Random sightings at weekend markets where they'd stroll side by side, no management, no press, just together. Fans started calling them Thailand's most romantic non-couple. But the real fuel to the fire came during interviews. When asked about their relationship, Mu would offer a soft smile, pause just long enough to stir suspicion, then answer with carefully chosen words. Tul is someone very important to me. His voice would drop, his eyes would soften, leaving just enough room for interpretation. Tul had his own way of guarding their truth. When a popular gossip magazine ran a speculative article dissecting Mu's love life, Tul didn't hold back. In a rare moment of public frustration, he called out the media for crossing boundaries, reminding everyone that they were discussing real people, with real emotions, and private lives that deserved respect. His words were sharp, protective, but beneath the anger, fans could feel something deeper: care. Then came the moments that left no room for doubt. During one particularly emotional fan event, while giving a heartfelt speech, Mu's voice cracked. Tears welled up. Before anyone could react, Tul was there. Crossing the stage, placing a steadying hand on Mu's shoulder, whispering something only he could hear. The entire room froze. Cameras captured the moment. It went viral overnight. And during another interview, when asked what he valued most in life, Tul's answer was instant. Having someone who understands me completely, without words. The interviewer moved on. But for a split second, Tul's eyes drifted to Mu, lingering there, long enough for fans to screenshot, zoom in, and make entire threads about that single glance. For the international LGBTQ+ community, these weren't just cute celebrity moments. They were hope, representation. In a region where same-sex relationships still face stigma and silence, here were two of Thailand's biggest stars, unknowingly becoming symbols of quiet resistance and authentic connection. Fan communities stretched from Seoul to San Francisco, from Manila to Madrid. Edits of their off-screen moments racked up millions of views on YouTube. Hashtags like Mu Tul Real, Love is Love, and BL to Real Life trended for days. Fans analyzed everything: the length of a glance, the brush of a hand, the timing of a post. And yet, through all of it, Mu and Tul maintained their silence. Because for them, the stakes were different. They weren't just navigating a friendship or a potential relationship, they were walking a tightrope between personal truth and professional survival. One wrong move and the career they had built could shift overnight. Thailand was evolving. Yes, but the entertainment industry still played by old rules. For LGBTQ+ fans watching, the emotional investment ran deep. This wasn't just about shipping two actors. This was about visibility. About seeing love, real or perceived, between two men, play out in ways that felt authentic and human and possible. And as each month passed, with every new photo, every new interview, every unguarded smile, the question grew louder. Would they stay frozen, forever caught in the safety of friendship? Or would they one day take that terrifying, beautiful leap and become something more? Fans waited, they hoped, they held their breath, because some love stories, the most complicated, the most beautiful, the most fragile, are simply too powerful to stay behind closed doors forever. For years, fans had speculated. Social media detectives zoomed in on every glance, every Instagram story, every off-script moment during fan meets. Mu and Tul had always been close. Too close, some would say. But in Thailand's conservative entertainment industry, where public same-sex relationships were rare and risky, nothing was ever confirmed. The rumors remained just that, rumors, until one unforgettable night when everything changed. It started like any other concert, the usual lights, the screams, the choreographed performances. Fans packed the arena with banners, LED signs, and matching t-shirts. Everyone expected fun, fan service, maybe even a few onstage jokes between the two stars. But what they got was history. As Tul finished what should have been his final solo song, the stage went dark, a beat of silence. Then a single spotlight lit up the far end. There stood Mu, alone, dressed simply, but with something small and velvet in his hand. The crowd froze, the air shifted. Thousands of fans held their breath. Mu's voice, usually playful and teasing, now trembled with raw emotion. For years, we've told stories about love, made people believe in on-screen romances. But tonight, this isn't acting. This isn't a script. This is real. He paused, fighting back tears, looking directly at Tul, who was visibly shaking, one hand over his heart. This is me asking you, the real you, to spend the rest of your life with me. The arena erupted. Some screamed in disbelief. Others cried uncontrollably. Every phone in the audience shot upward, recording a moment that would soon circle the globe. Tul, overwhelmed, covered his face, breaking down on stage. Then, with a smile that seemed to carry the weight of years, he stepped forward, nodded, and whispered one word that millions would replay over and over. Yes. Within minutes, social media went into meltdown. Hashtags like Mu Tul proposal and Love Wins Thailand trended worldwide. Fan cams appeared from every angle. Reaction videos flooded TikTok. Twitter exploded with screenshots, translations, and emotional threads. Even fans from outside the BL community, people who had never seen a Thai drama before, were suddenly talking about two men on a stage in Bangkok, daring to love each other openly. Mainstream Thai news, typically reserved if not cautious about LGBTQ+ topics, broadcast breaking reports. Morning shows debated the moment. Primetime anchors replayed the footage. Newspaper front pages the next day didn't feature politics, crime, or celebrity scandals. They featured Mu, down on one knee, holding that little velvet box. For Thailand's LGBTQ+ community, this wasn't just a celebrity engagement. It was validation, representation, proof that queer love could exist without apologies, in front of cameras, in front of a nation. LGBTQ+ organizations across the country released statements praising Mu and Tul's bravery. Activists used the moment to push harder for equality laws. Pride groups organized spontaneous rallies, waving rainbow flags while blasting audio clips of the proposal through speakers on busy Bangkok streets. But the ripple effect didn't stop there. Across Asia, in places like South Korea, Japan, the Philippines, and even in countries where being gay is still illegal, queer fans posted emotional reaction videos. Some cried, some laughed through their tears. Others wrote long, heartfelt messages, saying how the moment gave them courage to come out, to confess, or to simply believe in love again. Global LGBTQ+ icons took notice. International celebrities from Hollywood to Europe reposted the proposal, adding messages of solidarity and hope. LGBTQ+ media outlets called it the most visible and public same-sex love declaration in Southeast Asian entertainment history. In countless homes across Thailand, conversations that were once too uncomfortable suddenly became unavoidable. Parents who once dismissed BL shows as just acting were now seeing two beloved national stars declaring their real love for each other. Young LGBTQ+ Thais who had grown up watching Mu and Tul fall in love on screen now saw their heroes doing it for real, with cameras rolling and the whole world watching. For a country where LGBTQ+ rights had long been debated but never fully realized, the impact was seismic. LGBTQ+ youth who once felt invisible suddenly felt seen. Pride groups saw a surge in membership. Mental health hotlines for queer youth reported an increase, not in crisis calls, but in thank you messages. People calling just to say, because of them, I have hope. This wasn't just a fan moment, it was a social shift, a cultural reset. Mu and Tul didn't just make history that night, they became symbols. Proof that love, in all its forms, deserves to be seen, celebrated, and spoken aloud. And for anyone anywhere, still hiding their truth, still afraid of what might happen if they step into the light, the message was clear. You are not alone. Love wins. After the confetti had settled, after the headlines faded, and after the world's cheers became distant echoes, Mu and Tul stepped quietly, but confidently, into their next chapter. This time, there were no directors, no scripts, no retakes, just two people, finally free to write their story, their way. Marriage, for them, wasn't just another media moment. It wasn't a trending hashtag or a PR stunt. It was a private promise, whispered in the quiet corners of their new home, sealed not with camera flashes, but with sleepy Sunday mornings, shared coffee cups, and late-night talks about their dreams for the future. They bought a house, far from the city noise, nestled in a neighborhood where the sun streamed through the windows, where laughter echoed from room to room, and where the walls, for the first time, felt like home. Weekends became their sanctuary, cooking breakfast in matching pajamas, rearranging furniture for the third time just because it felt more them, or spontaneously booking trips to Chiang Mai, Phuket, or wherever their hearts wanted to wander. For years, fans had followed their love story through drama screens and red carpets. But now, this wasn't fiction. This was real life. Private, honest, sacred. In one rare, unfiltered interview, Mu opened up with words that silenced a decade of gossip. I don't think I need to prove our relationship to anyone anymore. We've heard every rumor, every opinion, and at this point, I feel no need to explain. The world is changing, and we're grateful for this life. And for everyone working to make this society a better place. It wasn't just a statement, it was a quiet act of defiance, a line in the sand, a declaration that love in its truest form never needs permission. But even behind closed doors, Mu and Tul knew their visibility mattered. Whether they wanted it or not, they had become more than actors. They had become symbols, an unspoken beacon for LGBTQ+ love, not just in Thailand, but across all of Asia. Soon after their wedding, invitations flooded in. Pride Month celebrations, LGBTQ+ rights panels, national campaigns for equality and acceptance. They stood on stages once reserved for politicians and seasoned activists, but they didn't speak as public figures. They spoke as two people who had loved and fought and survived. Their appearance at Bangkok Pride became front-page news. Hand in hand, they walked through a sea of rainbow flags, their names painted boldly across homemade signs, their smiles radiating hope. But behind each smile was a silent message to every teenager standing in that crowd. One day, you too will love without fear. When reporters asked why they chose to step so boldly into the spotlight, Tul's answer was simple, but unforgettable. Because if one person out there feels less alone because of us, it's worth it. Their activism was never performative. It was raw, authentic, and filled with heart. Together, they partnered with LGBTQ+ organizations, joined mental health campaigns for queer youth, and raised funds for shelters supporting LGBTQ+ teens rejected by their families. For a community often starved for visible role models, Mu and Tul became more than just celebrities. They became advocates, allies, and for many, personal heroes. Today, when people mention Mu and Tul, the conversation goes far beyond BL dramas and romantic fan fiction. It's about resilience, growth, and two human beings choosing love. Again and again, despite scrutiny, despite stereotypes, despite the weight of public expectation. They've shown Thailand and the world that LGBTQ+ love doesn't belong in shadows. That a same-sex couple can build a home, get married, show up on national talk shows, attend pride marches, and still wake up the next day, smiling over coffee, or planning their next vacation like any other couple in love. Their journey has started conversations in households that once stayed silent. Parents, once afraid to ask, now sit with their children, wondering, learning, opening their hearts. Media outlets that once hesitated now feature them proudly on magazine covers, no longer treating their love as controversy but as inspiration. Their story is a living reminder that love is never small, that it grows louder, braver, and more beautiful when it's shared with the world. So now, we want to ask you, does their courage give you hope for more LGBTQ+ visibility, not just in Thailand but across the globe? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because every time we speak up, every time we share stories like this, we help create a world where love, in all its forms, is celebrated, not hidden. And if this story touched you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us here as we continue shining a light on love that refuses to be silenced. Love, in its purest form, knows no boundaries. Mu and Tul's journey from co-stars to soulmates reminds us all that same-sex love is not just real, it's beautiful and worth celebrating. Their courage, their authenticity, and their refusal to hide have become a symbol of hope for LGBTQ people everywhere. If their story moved you or made you think, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment. Tell us what this kind of visibility means to you and how it shapes your view on love and equality. And if you want more stories that celebrate courage, truth, and LGBTQ+ voices across the world, don't forget to like this video, check out our other content, and hit that subscribe button. Thank you for being part of this journey with us. Together, let's keep making space for love that deserves to be seen.